Hi, it's Lucy here, and I'm so excited to be showing you how to make this card today. It's called a 3-point card or a triple point card, and all you need is a square card. So I'm using, I think it's just under 15 centimeters, 6 inches. Almost, but as long as it's square, it'll work. So all you need to do is find the center of the bottom of the card front and make a little impression with a grey lead pencil, and then you just cut from the top sides to the center, just like I've done, and keep those side pieces. Now you can use a die to create this next part, which is going to be part of the back card. But today I really want to show that you don't need any supplies really. You need half a sheet of 12 by 12 paper or two 6 by 6 papers, inches that is, and yeah, just a few items to put on them. And so I'm just using a knife and ruler, which is my favorite way to cut things anyway, but you can use your trimmer. It's just as easy if that's what you find the best way. And so I've just cut this piece that's a bit smaller than the card. So I think it's about 14 centimeters square. And as I said, you can use a die otherwise, and especially if you want that stitched impression on the die like mine has, that looks really nice too. But today, yeah, we're using as little supplies as possible. So now I'm creating the square that I'm going to use for the front of the card. And so again, I'm cutting it 14 by 14, and I'm using my mat to put it in the center and to find the center part. You can use your ruler to measure it along, but I'm just using the mat to find that center, to then do the same again, cut from the center of the bottom up to the top corners. And then it works perfectly if you use these measurements. Well, it's barely measurements, is it? And look what I've done. I had a look. I can't even figure out how I managed to slice myself, and I don't usually. I am pretty good with the knife, but yeah, it's pretty sharp, I guess, and I didn't even feel it. I just saw the blood on the video. So anyway, onto the card. So I use my Heidi Swap distresser, and it's very old, so I'm not sure whether they're still around, but if not, I've just shown how you can use your scissors to create exactly the same distressed look around the edges of everything. So the white parts I've left crisp and clean, but I've distressed all of the papers. So I'm just adding that background paper now, and with that one, it's got like a beautiful floral design on one side, so I'll be able to, I don't actually need to put any paper on the inside. I should be able to write a bit inside without it showing through. You just have to be really careful with these sort of cards when you are writing in the middle, that you can't see it when the card is sitting upright, because it will ruin the look of it. So now all I'm doing is adding the pattern paper to the white triangles that I cut off before, and I'm just using a very small amount of glue. I find if you use too much glue, it'll either seep out the sides or it can buckle your papers. So as long as you only use a small amount, but make sure that it's enough to keep it on there really well. And so now I'm doing the points. I'm looking for the bottom point and the side point and the top point, and it should then match up with the front triangle as well, so that they're both going on the same angle. So once I've got it right, I was gluing it down, but of course I moved the the bottom triangle, but that doesn't matter. When you're using glue, you just have a little bit more wiggle room, so that's why I'm using that instead of double-sided tape for this, but you can use that as well. This just, because you want them all fairly even, you need to make sure that you've got them in the right spot. Now, because that top triangle is on top of the other one and then on top of the card front as well, I just want to add a couple of pieces of scrap paper. I don't need any foam tape. I'm just going to use a little bit of scraps, 2 pieces, because that way it'll be even with the other triangle that's underneath it. And that just evens it out. It just gives it that little bit of a nice finished look. You don't have to do this, but I do like to add a little bit of scrap paper here and there if I feel like it'll sit nice and evenly. And because I've got that scrap left as well, I've decided to do it again on that other side, just on the tip of that triangle as well. And I'll pop that underneath there, and then that will have the same height as the bottom of the triangle. The paper that I'm using today is the Uniquely Creatives papers. The kit is called Summer Sonata, and it was from February this year. I'll have the link to this kit below, and also to Uniquely Creatives website in general, so that you can see all their different collections that they have. I do use theirs most of the time, but you can use any of the papers that you have at home as well, and fussy cut out any flowers from any pattern papers to add as embellishments. Here I am just adding the different embellishments. I'm going through my stash, and I know a lot of you like to see the process. I didn't play around with this before creating this card at all. I have made this card style a couple of times before, so I've actually got photos of that at the end of this video as well. So I hope you'll stay tuned and have a look, or go to the end to have a look at that. But now I'm going to show the process of like how I move things around and decide what looks nice and what doesn't, to give you an idea. So I will stop chatting and I'll put on some music while this happens. If you're on a mobile phone, you can tap twice on the right hand side of the video and it'll take you 10 seconds ahead. So if you want to watch it, this next part quite quickly, but still, just in case you don't want to miss something important, you can, yes, just do that. Or if you want to go back, you can click on the left hand side, double click, and it'll take you back 10 seconds. So, okay, I'll put on the music and I'll let you know when I'm coming back on. So I'm back, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the process of putting everything together. I like to make sure that there's different heights for everything so that it gives a lot of interest. And now I'm using my Jelly Roll pen. It's a white one in a size 5, and just to give a little bit more interest to that sentiment as I covered up a lot of it, the tag part of it. And now I'm just going to add some rhinestones. I was looking for the right colour, and I found these peachy coloured ones. They're from Uniquely Creative as well, and I decided to add them to the centres of the little flowers to give a little bit of bling. And I'm also going to add some to the card as well. I just think that it kind of makes it look really special. I ended up moving that cog on the left hand side because once I'd put down the main floral arrangement, I couldn't fit it underneath there anymore, and because it's metal I couldn't cut it, so I moved it to the left hand side a little bit more where I could squeeze it under, and I think it looks better anyway, so sometimes there's happy mistakes. I've glued these rhinestones on as well as, even though they're adhesive, because that way they're safer for little children. So here's the finished card, and you'll see it standing up in the photo shortly, but isn't it lovely? It comes out so nice, and they're so easy to make. And here's the other cards that I've made with the same design but different papers. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already and you'd like to, that would be great. Have a great day, and thanks so much for watching.